You know, it's been quite some time since I promised you that we were going to do a Mortal Kombat marathon. But with all these technical problems and life that keeps getting in the way, and the fact that I don't know much of anything about anything, it just makes me really frustrated. So, instead, what we're going to do for today is we're going to look at a game that is so bad, it signifies exactly how I feel. Rise of the Robots. This ought to be good. Now you see this game right here? I hate it with a burning passion. Why? Because I grew up a Super Nintendo fan, and I remember seeing the trailer for this game and thinking, oh my god, it looks so good. I just have to try it. I need to get a hold of it somehow. Thankfully, I never did. Not until about 20 years later.
Now this game didn't only come out on the Super Nintendo. Oh no. It also came out on the Sega Genesis, the Game Gear. It even had a version for the CDI, the 3DO, the Amiga CD32, and it was even on PC for DOS. Wow! And then there was the director's cut for DOS. But instead of Cyborg, you got the supervisor on the box art. I had no idea that stuff this awful could spread so far.
And having looked at it, it is absolutely disgusting. This game is so deceptive because the graphics look amazing, and yet it fails everywhere else. It fails as a game. It fails in the combat. It fails as an interesting piece of software. This game doesn't even need an introduction. So without further ado, let's go ahead and throw this piece of junk in there.
Game to console, power to console, controller to hand, butt to couch. Look at this ugly opening text. It's just green letters on top of black. And the only good thing about this game is that it has music performed and composed by Brian May of Queen. Look, a mirage. Blink and you'll miss it. Here's the opening title screen. You have the A3 Cyborg. And he just, boom! He punched in the title of the game.
And right here on the title screen is where you're supposed to press the start button. So, here goes nothing.
Dude, I have to admit, the music here on the main menu is pretty rad. Let's select one player, and then select mission brief to start the game. Now we get this FMV sequence that just shows you flying in to go fight the robots. And here's the robot roll call. You got the loader, the builder, the crusher, the I don't know, the sentry, and the supervisor. Each robot is introduced to you via the scanning screen, which gives you the details on the robot. I assume it was meant to be more heavily used in the game, but here it's just pointless filler. But why do they walk towards you so menacingly like you stole their lunch or something? Here's the main event getting ready to face off against this robot. And... well, this is disappointing and anticlimactic. Right off the bat, you can probably tell that this game doesn't have anything that makes a fighting game decent. I mean, yes, you have the special moves, but they're horrible. There's also no combos, and the fighting is just stiff and unimaginative. Also, I found that you can just beat most enemies by kicking them into the wall like this.
Yeah, this looks fun, doesn't it? Just walking to the left and right and pressing the button. Looks real entertaining. This is stupid. But to be completely honest, it's the only way I actually found to beat this game that works a majority of the time. Except for like maybe one opponent.
With enough hits, you finish your savage beatdown of the loader, and he flies back. Hooray! Cyborg wins! Battle 1 of 2 done. Go ahead and finish this one so that we can move on to the next opponent. Loader flies back. We win for the second time. Cue that glorious screen telling me that I won. And then the screen turns red for some reason. Okay. Now's a good time to point out, when you beat a robot, you get to see his death animation too. Just absolutely macabre. Our next opponent is the Builder. And why is he called Ape? I thought he was a builder. Why is his name Ape? Guess it's not all that important anyway, because he's even easier than a loader. You simply just trap him into a corner and smack into him until he falls down. Just, were they even trying with this one? I guess not. So that's 2 opponents down. And we're gonna move on to the next opponent, but not before the screen turns red and we see that glorious, glorious end cutscene for the Building Ape. Third opponent in is the Crusher. And I'm not kidding when I tell you that this is the cheapest bucket of bolts that this game has to offer. For one, he's got double the reach of you, and this shredding attack where if you get too close, it takes off a significant chunk of your health. It's very rare that I'm able to counter it. Like just now, I was able to do it. But this is just incredible. I mean, even getting close to kick him doesn't work half the time. Come on, you big piece of scrap metal. I'm gonna turn you into your namesake. Let's go. Okay, good. Just get him. Yeah. Alright, now just go in for the charge. Oh, come on! No, no, no!
Man, you're lucky I don't go in there because then I'd melt you down in the scrap metal, you piece of shit!
So I lost. And guess what happens when you lose? Well, naturally, the little screen pops up, lets you know your opponent won, tells you game over, then the screen fades to red, and the cyborg gets his own animation where he straight looks at you just to show you that his demise was at your hands and he knows it.
And you want to know what the worst part is when you lose this game? Check this out.
You get kicked back to the title screen at the beginning of the game. There's no continues in this, so you die once and you start over.
But I'm not about to put you through all that. As a matter of fact, let's go back to the Crusher fight and let's actually beat him this time.
Yeah, take that, you green pile of nonsense. The Crusher? More like the Crushed, am I right? Next up, we got the I Don't Know, otherwise referred to as the military robot. And he's just nothing special. As long as you steer clear of his special moves, like the cannonball and the Freddy Krueger glove, you're in good shape. Just back him into a corner, don't give him any space, and beat him down. I found this fight to be easier than the Crusher battle, because he has just as much range as you do, as long as you stay away from his special moves. Well, time to move on to the next one. So the last robot standing between you and the supervisor is this red tub of lard right here. This is the Sentry. And he has got this twin kick move that just about dominates you. It's almost like he's trying to ride you or something. But same thing as with the military robot, don't give them no space and back them against the wall and you'll ultimately end up winning. Give the Sentry any space, however, and it'll twin kick you until you fall down. He beat me with 420 points. That's funny. Now while the Sentry does put up a cheap fight, if you put up an even cheaper fight, you can take him down pretty easily. Just again, don't give that thing no space. And that's a wrap. That takes care of all the opponents that we have. The only thing standing between us and glorious victory now is the supervisor. Speaking of which, here she comes. Very slowly. Now you would think that because she is the final opponent in this big, sloppy lineup, that she would at least put up a decent fight. But the answer to that question is no. The supervisor basically is like every other brain-dead enemy that we fought before. Just trap her in a corner and you can get her. She's supposed to be able to shapeshift her polymorphic body and stuff like that, But even I find that it's easy to get around it. I mean, just look, I am straight dominating her. Didn't even put up a challenge. Like, what kind of final boss is this? There we go. We put an end to the supervisor and capped off this pointless exercise and entertainment. And what is your reward? Well, you get to watch the death animation of the supervisor where she, I guess, collapses like she's made of glass or something and not some hard polymorphic material. Then you get this replay. And the replay basically shows you flying into the city like you did in the beginning of the game and has the robot roll call, only you get to see all of their animations and stuff, which is absolutely pointless. Hanging out on this screen here will also give you the secret code for engaging the supervisor in training, and I believe it also unlocks it for 2 players as well.
Yeah, and if you want to play as any of the other robots, guess what you have to do? You need a second controller, because player 1 is always Cyborg. So if you want to play as any other robot, you need a second controller, and possibly someone to help you play this nonsense. Why not just put in a character select screen? I mean, really, every other fighting game did it, so why not this one?
But anyway, this collection of FMV clips is the last bit of the game. There's no way for you to go back from here, unless you reset your Super Nintendo.
So, in conclusion, as you can no doubt tell by the footage and the exquisite joy on my face, this game sucks. It's horrible. And if you see it, don't buy it, unless you want to either complete your NES collection, or if you live on disappointment. But, Rise of the Robots are made of metal, and metal is recyclable. So we could take Rise of the Robots and put it in the bin. But that's not where it ends, is it? No, of course not. There's a sequel to this game called Rise 2 Resistance. And I don't own it, but if I ever get a hold of it, you can bet that we're gonna tear that one apart too. The game was made by Mirage, and I'm surprised that I'm holding it in my hands because that's what I wish it was, a mirage.